Hello and welcome. This is Galen Tome, and this is the Missile Damage Threshold Upgrades 2.0 spreadsheet calculator for Metal Storm. So I'm going to be taking you on a quick tour of this tool that I've built, and just to help familiarize you with it and to help you know how to use it. So first up, we're going to be looking here at the instructions sheet, which is the first thing you'll see when you open up this document. So you'll see the big red letters here that say stop, read this first. To use this calculator, you will need to make a copy of the file. This will allow you to select and adjust the health values on both sheets and the missile values on the damage custom sheet. So first up, we're going to just follow the instructions. File, make a copy. So we're going to do File, and we're going to go Make a copy. And it's going to ask, hey, do you want to make a copy of the document? You can just keep it copy of Missile Damage Thresholds Upgrades 2.0. All of this stuff is fine. You can call it like my copy, or you can call it like best of the best, coolest. Like, you can name it whatever you want. But we're just going to call it copy of Missile Damage Thresholds Upgrades 2.0. And there we go. Now we have a copy. So we're working on our own copy. So first thing you'll see here is exactly what this orange warning tells you about. Warning, some formulas are trying to send and receive data from external parties. So we're going to take a look at the instructions here. You may receive a warning saying exactly what it says at the top there. This is normal. Simply click the button that says Allow Access. So we're going to do that. We're going to allow access. This is so the section of the data sheet can check the current stats of all the planes against the numbers on the Metalstorm wiki. So I'm going to explain what that means a little bit later in the video, but we're going to get back to that later. Let's proceed forward with what we have. So the next thing we need to know is, where's the actual sheets? Like, what does this actually do? So the sheets are here down at the bottom. Damage min max and damage custom. And we've got a little description here. It says damage min max will show you the minimum and maximum damage values for all missiles right beside each other. And damage custom is set to show the maximum damage values for all missiles, with the option to adjust the values to your exact preference or build. So let's take a look at what those look like. So this is the damage min-max sheet. So it's very colorful. It may look a little bit overwhelming. Before we jump into that, actually, we're going to go back to the instructions because there's one more section we didn't cover, and that's the color key here. So you're going to see here cells that are red, green, blue, and purple. And these are designed to allow you to visually see how many missiles are required to kill a particular aircraft at the specified HP values that it has. So if you're going to be comparing a plane with a lot of damage on its missile against a plane with very little health, you're going to see a red cell where it's going to die in one missile. And then as you get missiles with less damage or planes with more health, you'll see more green and blue and even some purple in some cases. So that's what we're dealing with here. So let's go to the damage min max sheet here. We're going to be looking here. We have the aircraft listed along the left side here. Now these are listed in descending order of aircraft level. So this order should look very familiar to most players. These are the order that you can essentially gain access to and unlock planes. So you'll see we start with the F5 Tiger, then the Super Sabre, the Mirage and the Fishbed, the Intruder, and so on. So as you scroll down the sheet, you'll see the higher and higher hangar level aircraft. So we get all the way down to the bottom, all the way down to, say, the Raptor and the Falcon and the Mighty Dragon here at hangar level 20. So you'll see that order should be familiar. The order of the aircraft here at the top may not look as familiar, but this is actually in descending order of highest missile damage available on a particular aircraft. So that's why we see the MiG-31 Foxhound and the rest of the interceptors here listed first. This is to give you a quick view of like the highest damage threats in the sky when you're trying to figure out, okay, what should I be looking out for when I'm either flying or when I am trying to decide and set up my build. We're going to take a quick peek at the damage custom sheet here, and then we're going to describe the difference of why you'd want to use the two different ones. So damage customs looks very similar, but instead of 2 rows for each missile, you'll see 1, and they instead have a drop down that lets you select a particular missile damage value, and it'll adjust the sheet live for that damage value. So why are there 2 sheets, and why do you want to use one over the other in what scenario? So we'll go over how exactly to use them in a moment, but we're going to go over why you want to use them first. So this damage min-max sheet is really designed for when you are planning out your plane's HP values. So this allows you to see very quickly like what type of matchups can you expect if you were to max out the HP on your plane, if you were to minimize the HP on your plane and prioritize things like speed and maneuverability. And then you can then select a custom value for the HP of your plane so that you can check to see what a particular build will net you in terms of if certain missiles will kill you in 1 hit or 2. So you can see here the radar missiles on the MiG-31 Foxhound at maximum HP values don't kill it in 1 hit if they don't max out their damage. But if they do max out their damage, they still kill you in 1 hit. So you can adjust this to see where those values change. All the way to 110 and 115. So down to 100 there. So the damage min-max sheet is for when you're planning your own HP. And you can then compare it to, and if you click and drag here at the bottom, you can scroll across and you select a row that you're wanting to compare so that it's easily highlightable. You kind of drag it across and find the planes you want to compare it to specifically, or just look for outliers. You can visually see, oh, these ones are killing it when it's at maximum value, but not at minimum value. So you know there's some variance in there. So you can kind of quickly scroll across and see what kind of damage threats, are going to kill you in 1 hit or 2. And it'll go all the way down, all the way to the least damaging missiles. So we're going to scroll all the way back here. And so that's for damage min-max. If you want to use damage custom, this is when you are planning your missile damage. So this is to help you decide, okay, if I pick, say, my Mighty Dragon here, and I want to maximize my damage on my radar missiles. Well, these are the matchup. This is the number of hits I'm going to need with my missiles to kill these particular planes at the particular HP value. So say if I want to kill a Frogfoot with a J-20 and I maximize the damage on my radar missiles, if they maximize the health on the Frogfoot, it's going to take me 3 missiles to kill them with like direct impacts, not counting any other mods or anything like that. Whereas if they minimize it, it'll take 2. If they are at this particular value, so like 100% or 110, it's still going to take 2 missiles. It's only if they go 115. I'm missing something here. 110, 115. There we go. So it's only if they go 115 that it starts to make a difference. Sorry, I adjusted the aardvark and misdid that one. So here, it's that one there, 215, and you can see it change. If we go back to 100, you see it changes there. So 100% is just the default values for the customs. You can customize these, but you're going to have to do them individually. But this is a tool for planning your missile damage output. And if you want to compare it to a particular plane, you'll be, as you scroll across, you won't be able to see the oh, I just thought of something. Can I do this? Ha 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 ha. Okay. Just made the whole thing smarter, just live while you're watching this. So now you'll be able to actually see these a little bit easier. Can we do this? Yeah. Okay, so this area will be a little bit smaller, but you'll be able to be able to line them up a little bit easier. So if you want to line up the tornado and you want to see how well the advanced hunters do against the A6, you can adjust the values here and see where you start being able to kill it in less and less missiles. Or you can see how much you can tone down your missiles before you lose that damage threshold. So here you see it's still at blue at 85. Sorry, if it turns down to blue here at 85. At 90, if they've minimized their HP, you can still kill them in 2 hits, but it'll take 3 if they haven't. So like you can really get into the nitty gritty here. I'm not gonna go too far into this right now, but let's see what we need to cover still. So we went over how to use the drop downs for the missiles. We went over how to use the drop downs for the individual planes. Do this. There we go. So that should make it easier to just really do some very fine-tuned build planning, as well as like once you have your set build, you can kind of go through this tool and see what type of matchups you're going to need to be particularly wary of, or you have a particular advantage against. You see where like the A6, if you've maxed out its HP, there are times where you might be able to get like, absorb 3 full missile hits before you go down. Any of these, like they have the actual individual numbers. If you need to say calculate in something like blast resistance, you would just simply take this value and reduce it by the percentage of protection that blast resistance gives you. So like at maxed out is 20%, you would take 20% off of this value, and then you would figure out how many times that goes into whatever HP value you're comparing it to. So if you need to do extra math there, that's how you would do that. Yes, so we're going to do one last bit. So that's how you use all of the things you're going to need to know. This section here is for curiosity or advanced users, or if you need to make adjustments to the tool yourself. I'd prefer if you didn't. Not that I have any objection to doing so, but that if there are adjustments that need to be done, please let me know, and I want to make it available to everyone, so that everyone has the best working tool available. So down here at the bottom, we're going to go back to the instruction sheet. Down here at the bottom, there's a button that says All Sheets. When you hover over it, there's a hidden sheet called Data. So this is the reason why we had that warning at the beginning, where it was saying some formulas were trying to send and receive data. It's in the data sheet, and it's this. So it looks a little bit wonky right now. Yeah, but what this is for, and this is primarily for use on the original, to basically make sure that all of these values, this is where all of the base HP and base damage of every plane is stored, for use in all of the sheets. So that's this whole first section here. And then the second section here is basically checking these values against what's stored on the wiki for each of those planes. And so if it can contact the wiki and check and it matches, it'll display that value. And if it matches what's in the sheet here, it will be green. The pale green are just empty values because they're not used for that. If for some reason, the Raptor, say the Raptor was 75, it'll turn that value red. So that's just a quick tool to be able to see if something on the wiki has changed compared to what this sheet is using. Maybe update that, it's green again. It will not auto-populate in the changes to the rest of the sheets. It's simply here as a reference to tell you that there might need to be an update. When there are updates, I do plan to make those updates to the original. If your copy of this sheet is out of date, it will say here, where it'll say new updates are available, and it'll encourage you to go and get a new copy. And that'll allow you to have an updated sheet with all of the latest values and any corrections that may need to be done. But yeah, oh, and the last bit here, if you are going to look into the data sheet and you're done with it and you don't want to deal with it anymore, you can just right click it here and click hide sheet again, and it'll just kind of tuck it away like it was before. But yeah, that's the full tour. I hope this is useful for at least some people or informative. If you have any feedback, positive or negative, or if there is errors or corrections or improvements to be made to this tool, please reach out to me on Discord. My name on Discord is Galen Tome, all lowercase. The information is there on the instruction sheet. I love talking about this stuff. I love working on this. I put a lot of passion into this project. So your feedback is welcome and appreciated. But that's it for me. And, guns and rockets and good flying out there.